Brian, if you could just comment, obviously Tyson being placed on IR, what that not only does for your defense, but also opportunities that creates for some other players.
Sure. Hate it for him first. Like he was playing at an elite level, really high. Can't wait to get him back, and we will when he'll come back. He'll be fine. It's just next man up mentality. It's part of the game. One of the things is, we've talked about no depth chart, things like that, and so the guys behind him have had plenty of reps, plenty of opportunity to go out and play against good quality opponents and show what they can do. And so we're very confident the next guy up out there will do a good job.
What did you see from Buster on Sunday? What did you see from Jarian?
Technique, fundamentals, extra effort, where they were supposed to be. Excited about both those two players, young players that did a pretty good job in the game. And so now let's take the next step.
Speaking of what do you look at from week 1 or week 2? Do you see the biggest improvement for guys, and where do you think they may take the biggest step?
Young players especially. Some guys have played in their first NFL football game against a really good team, really good opponent, and so some of the guys had some success, and now they're building on that, and they know, it's, hey, I can play this game at this level. So that's confidence is a huge thing. I think that goes a lot with that. And then some of the guys that, hey, maybe need to do a little bit better, maybe a little bit frustrated or disappointed in their performance. And so they're, really focused on this week and taking one day at a time to not let that happen again. So look for a big step from our defense just from 1 week to the next. It is, like you said, most teams first week to second week make that big jump. We're looking forward to the same thing.
How impressed were you with your linebackers, Foye and Devin getting most of the snaps, but also the rotational guys coming in?
Sure. The whole group, as a group, we thought they did a good job, really good job. I thought the communication was really good. Matt did a good job in terms of what their offense did and gave them some good tips. Foye, Devin flew around, physical tackles, but then there wasn't a drop-off when the next guy came in. And you saw that it was really good. We played down there, those guys came in, flew around. Chad, you saw Ventrell in the box. And so they did a good job. They've earned some reps, and so we'll continue that throughout the season.
Brian, it seems like a lot of guys in the locker room took pride in their run defense. Just what kind of start was that really for that unit against the run?
Yeah, that's what we want to be about, in run and the pass. Pound the line of scrimmage, eliminate explosive plays in pass and run. But it was a good start. Like, we can build off of that, and kind of our expectation. So, we shouldn't have been surprised that happened. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where talk to the guys. Hey, don't be surprised. It's how we practice. It's how our fundamentals take it, how we're locked in. The players that we have. That type of thing. But then let's take the next step this week. Let's be even better.
How much does it help the run defense having edge guys like Josh and even Trayvon, who it seems like against the run has really stepped it up?
Yeah, it helps our defense, our team. We got good players. Add Eric in there, and they're really good. Do a good job using their hands, knocking the line of scrimmage back. They're big bodies. They run real well. Those guys did a good job on the edge. They really did. Trayvon getting off of blocks. There was times Josh, his awareness in terms of the blocks and his block reaction, things like that. There's some disruption. There's some things that you didn't see on the stat line that he did during the game in the run game and the pass rush game that showed up on the tape, on a toss plays in the backfield, taking two guys where, Tyson can make a tackle. And so there's some really good things that those guys did. Again, we just got to build off of it.
How did you feel about the performance of the interior of your defense? And you also seem to balance out the snaps there so that you would have, fresh guys.
Sure. Yeah, we could, at every position, we can get better. And so that was the same thing with those guys. Thought it was okay. Could have been better at times, but at certain times there was very encouraging things. We played some young players, not an excuse, but young guys out there, and there's some of those guys that can play and need to get and play better for us. Their ability and things that they've done. But as I think overall, when you really look at it, towards the end of the game, I think there's a couple of plays that you'd like to have back in the run game. A couple of the third down belly play and the last play of the game where, it falls off a tackle. If you make those two tackles, you feel even better because you felt pretty good about it right now. So,
as a defensive coordinator, did you feel like this is something that you guys have to do? You have to give these young guys snaps in the hopes that they're going to get better as the season goes along. But if you don't if you don't put them out there, then, you know, how are they gonna get better?
It's one of the things at all positions is have the rotation, like we saw with the linebackers, the D line, you know, in the secondary, is continue, because it's such a long. I mean, look what happened to Tyson. You know, Tyson goes down week 1, and so next guy up. You know, if Buster didn't play in the preseason and things like that, then we wouldn't know, you know, what he would, because he was playing against, you know, really good. So we knew, hey, we were confident. If something happened, he's the next guy in, he goes out there and does his job. Same thing in the interior of the D line. It's really important how we practice, and they go against our best players, you know, those young guys, and they have success or they don't, and we can work with them, fundamentals and technique. And so we'll continue to work that group. I mean, we have 7 D tackles on the roster, so there's a bunch of guys that we think that they can play in there. So you'll see a combination, you know, throughout the year. You know, and if some guy gets nicked or something like that, and God forbid that happens, but next man up mentality.
Is that something that might take a little time for, let's just say a guy like Foye who's used to being on the field at all times? Is that going to take some getting used to them not always being on the field and having to allow those younger players to develop?
You know, that's probably more of a question for him. I mean, that's just how we've been practicing. You know, you go out there 4 or 5 reps, next guy in. You know, so it's probably be a better question for him, but don't see it being too big of an issue.
What does it do for you to have Chad and Ventrell come in, have Foye go off? Just given how good Foye is as a player, how does that help your defense, certain packages, things of that nature?
Sure. The more you can do helps in all the packages. You see her out there. You know, there's some things that we can do with those guys with their skill sets. But you're confident. Next guy in there, and be honest with you, at times didn't know that Foye was out of the game. He got a blow, and then, hey, looked out there, and there's 51 out there, and it was like, all right, here we go. Like, hey, next man up. Like, it's awesome. You know, you see Chad out there. You know, Chad's out there making a play, and you're like, all right. You know, so you feel really good at all positions with our rotation. We've got a good roster. We have a good roster. We got depth on our defense. That's one of the things we do have. And so, you know, regardless of who's out on the field, you always feel like, hey, we're confident in every single play that every player is going to do their job.
Okay, the last one.
There seemed to be a pretty good balance with Eric as far as inside or outside.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that? How long did it sort of take you to just sort of settle in on what is the best role for him to help your defense?
Pretty quickly. Like, we knew exactly what we were going to do when he got here. You know, play some ends, play some tackle. That's kind of what his. And then how we rotated it was, hey, personnel packages, things like that. So it wasn't a big, you know, and you'll see the continue of that, moving them around, things like that for the rest of the year. So it wasn't a huge deal.
Seems like
Yeah,
it seems like Darnell Savage plays a pretty unique role in the defense. I mean, he was on the line of scrimmage, he was at safety in the slot. How unique is that to be able to have a player to do all those different things, and how did he sort of play?
Very, very unique. He played really well. His speed. You know, some of the times in the secondary when you don't show up with a lot of statistics, regardless of whatever position, could mean you played really well. The ball didn't go to you because you're tight coverage, things like that. You know, he had some tackles. You know, he was flying around. His ability to play close to the line of scrimmage and deep, you know, in the safety positions and be able to play different coverages with his skill set. You know, the nickel safety. You know, and if he needed to in a pinch, he can go out there and play some corner, you know, on certain things because nickel's very similar. And so, you know, he fired up about the guy. You know, he's very confident. He came off the field feeling very confident. He did a good job, and we are as well. You know, we just got to continue to go with that, and you'll see him continue to move around within the package. So, thank you guys.
Appreciate it, Ron. Thanks, Ron.